Okay, so Panagdiet students, so we will discuss our topic in our previous lesson to give you a fresh start and also a glimpse for the next topic that we are going to tackle. So our previous topic is titled exponential functions. So uh, let's go to the definition of exponential function. So an exponential function is a function that can be expressed mathematically as f of x is equal to b to the power of x, where b is any positive real number not equal to 1. Since b is greater than 0 and b is not equal to 1, then the value of f of x is always a positive real number. So we have their examples. So which of the following describes an exponential function? A function, okay? So you have there for our a, f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. Our b, which is f of x is equal to 1 half to the power of 5x. C, um, f of x is equal to x to the power of negative 6. Our d, which is f of x, which is equal to 3x to the power of 1 half. So which of these are exponential functions? So in our definition, it is said that b is any positive real number. So any positive real number. So this means that our base should be a constant. Okay, our base should only be a constant. Therefore, a and b qualifies as our exponential functions, while c is not a constant but a variable. Therefore, it can't be called an exponential function. And also d, since it has a constant and a variable. Okay, so one can easily identify a function exhibits exponential behavior using the table of values and relationship in its values. So let us consider the table of values of a particular exponential function below. So you have there where when x is 0, f of x is equal to 1. When x is equal to 1, f of x is equal to 3. 2 and f of x is equal to 9. And also when x is equal to 3, f of x is equal to 27. And when x is equal to 4, f of x is equal to 81. So notice that any function value for x in 3 times the previous function value. So you have there R1. So 1 times 3. So that is just 3. And then 3 times 9. 3 times 3, you'll get 9. And then 9 times 3, you'll get 27. And lastly, 3 times 27, you'll get 81. So consequently, this leads to another observation that the ratio of any two consecutive function values is equal to 3. Thus, in an exponential function, the function values have a common ratio. So, ayan common ratio kay 3. So, the relationship that exists between x and f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. So, dara siya guys. So, 3 to the power of x to atong function. Okay, when x is equal to 1, let's say when x is equal to 0. So, when x is equal to 0, so we have there if 0 ang atong exponent, di ba kay ma 1 lang man na. And then when we have our exponent which is just 1, so that is 3. If we have 2 as our exponent, you'll have 9. Okay? So that is how you make a table of a certain exponential function. Okay, so the table below shows the definition and example of exponential equation, inequality, and exponential function. So for the exponential equation, so it is an equation involving exponential expressions. So as you can see there, i-equate siya together. That's why it is called an equation. So, dara siya, oh. I-equate man siya together. That's why exponential function siya. Ang exponential inequality is just easy to spot lang kay you'll have there the signs less than and greater than and or equal and also less than or equal. Okay, so you'll just have to observe the given sign or symbol. Okay, and then for the exponential functions, the function of the form f of x is equal to b to the power of x, where b is greater than 0 and b is not equal to 1. So, ang kalahian sa exponential functions o exponential equation is that ang equation, it is composed of expressions. Expression lang siya ang gibutang. Diari, naa siya function notation which is this f of x or g of x, h of x, maski unsa. Basta kay naa siya function notation. Okay? So, when solving exponential equations and inequalities, we'll have to consider some useful exponential rules. Okay? So, recall that for any positive numbers a and b, the following properties or rules hold for all real numbers and uh, for all real numbers x and y. So, you have there for the product rules, you have there a to the power of x times a to the power of y is just equal to a to the power of x plus y. So, unsay pasabot ani? When you have the same bases, so if same og base, guys, if same og base, therefore, you can add the exponents. So, let's say for example, 3 to the power of 1 times 3 to the power of 2. Therefore, you'll have 3 to the power of 3. So, ang 3 diha, gikuha ra na siya from here and here. So, that is just 2 plus 1. Okay? And also, for the product rule, when you have 8 times a to the power of x times b to the power of x, it is just equal to 8 times b to the power of x. So, this means na ang pasabot ani guys is if you have different bases. If like lahi-lahi mong value sa bases. Let's say for example, you have there 2 to the power of 2 times 3 to the power of 2, ana. So, it will just be like this. 2 times 3 to the power of 2. So, inana lang na siya. Okay? So, let's try to solve daw. So, if sakto ba jud? So, diari, ang 2 squared is just 4. While ang 3 squared is just 9. Di ba? And 4 times 9, 36. Di ba? 36. Ang diari, you'll have there 2 times 3, that is just 6. Di ba? So, 6 squared. And 6 squared is just 36. Therefore, same ra silang values. Okay? So muna siya pasabot sa atuang product rules. So this case is for the same bases, and this case is when you have different bases but the same exponents. Okay? What about sa atong quotient rules? So for our quotient rule, um, you have there for a case that you have the same bases, okay? If same bases, let's say for example you have 3 to the power of 5 divided by 3 to the power of 4. So that just means nga 3 to the power of 5 minus 4. Ana lang na siya. Okay. So kani siya guys, i-consider na nimo siya if same og bases if like same sila nga 3 ra ilang base. Okay? So you'll have there ang final answer nimo is just 3 or 3 to the power of 1. Okay? Next, what about if you have the same exponent but different bases? So, sa tuwang inani, you'll have there, for example, 2 over 3. You'll have there, say, for example, to the power of 3. So, ang imuhang kuan ani, imong buhaton ani is to distribute 3 to each of the um, bases. So, you have there 2 to the power of 3 and also 3 to the power of 3. So, dili ka mo subtract or mo add sa exponents if lahi sila og bases. Okay? So that is for our product rules and quotient rules. Next is when we have power rule. So unsa man ang power rule? So you have there a to the power of x times no, that's not times. A to the power of x to the power of y pa jud. Okay, so unsa man na siya? So na kay let's say for example, you have there let me just clear this out. Say for example, you have 3 squared to the power of 2. So saan man na siya? So easy lang ni guys. According sa atong product rule, you'll just simply multiply the exponents. So you'll have there 3. So 2 times 2, you'll have 4. So that is how power rule works. Okay? And also our zero rule, so kaning zero rule gi-establish na gini siya sa una. Any constant ni siya guys or any variable basta zero ang iyang exponent kay ma 1 gyud na ang iyahang answer. So let's say for example, 1,000,000. 1,000,000 na siya, 1,000,000 na siya, taas naman kayo na siya guys. So 1,000,000 to the power of zero, that is just equal to 1. Okay? Ang next na to is the negative exponent rule. So the negative exponent rule states that if you have a negative exponent, you can make it positive by putting it down to the denominator. Let's say for example, you have 3 to the power of negative 2. You can make this positive kaning exponent by um uh, putting it on the denominator. Okay? Putting it under, I mean. So 3 squared na siya. 1 over 3 squared. That is just equal to what do you call this? That is just equal to 3 to the power of negative 2. Okay, so any number guys, 3 to the power of negative 9. So pwede na siya imuon og positive ang iyang exponent. So mahimo siyang 1 over 3 to the power of 9. Okay? So we have here an example. Okay, so unsaon na to siya pag-solve sa ato ang what do you call this? Exponential equation. So you have there an example, um, 125 to the power of x minus 1 is equal to 25 to the power of x plus 3. So um, how do you make this? Uh, how do you solve for x for this one? Okay, ang first thing na inyong buhaton is to uh, transform the each of the equations so that they will have equal bases. Okay? I-transform nimo siya both sides dapat parehas sila og bases. Okay? So you have there 125. So unsa may what do you call this? Unsa may factors sa 125 na pwede na to um na mahimo siyang ma-transform na to siya into exponential function. Okay? So 125 can be written as 125 can be written as it can be 25 to the power of 3, 'di ba? Ay, joke. 5 to the power of 20. Wait. 5 to the power of 3, okay? Or 5 cube. It can also be written as can be also sakto na siya. 5 to the power of 3. And also sa atuang 25 diari, it can be written as 5 squared man, 'di ba? So since pwede na nato siya makita diara, makita na nato ihang same nga basis. So ato na siya i-transform. So ang atong 125 diri mahimo siyang 5 cube, atong 25 diri mahimo siyang 5 squared. So what happens after this? So what happens after this is that you will multiply the exponent. So according sa atuang power rule. So sa atong power rule, if na exponent og exponent po diri, you can simply multiply them. So na kay 3 times uh, x minus 1 and then 2 times x plus 3 ana. Sure na siya, darao. So after this, you can now eliminate both fives. So muna siya purpose guys nga ato siyang giparehag bases so that you can disregard them na. Ma-disregard na din nato na siya if same na silang bases. Okay? So pag disregard niyo muna nila, ang mabilin ang exponents na lang. So atong exponents ani, you'll have 3 times x minus 1 is equal to 2 times x plus 3. So unsa man nato na? Ato ang i-distribute ang 3, ang 2 po ato i-distribute. So you'll have 3x minus 3, 2x plus 6. So solving this, ato i-transpose ang 3 dire ug ang 2 dire. So mahimo siyang 3x minus 2x is equal to 6 plus 3. So atong 3x minus 2x that is equal to x and then atong 6 plus 3 that is just equal to 9. Therefore, our x will be equal to 9. So that is how you solve an exponential equation. Okay, another example. So we solve for 4 to the power of negative n minus 2 times 4 to the power of n is equal to 64. So okay, so unsaon man siya? Again, pangitaon nimo ang iyahang factors nga makapareha nilang exponents. So akong tip ani guys is you look for the lesser number. So you have there 4 man. Mas gamay man ang 4 kaysa 64, di ba? So you look for the lesser number which is 4 and then try to multiply it by itself. So ang 4 times 4 that is 16. What about 4 times 4 times 4? 'Di ba kay 4 times 4 times 4 is just 64. Therefore, pwede na nato siya ma-rewrite ang 64 as our exponential function na siya with like this. So you look for the lesser number. Dari 25. Ang 25 ani, pwede man siya nga ma-5 pud siya. And then ang atuang 125, pwede na pud siya sa 5. Okay? So you have there 4 to the power of negative n minus 2 times 4 to the power of n is equal to 64. Okay? So ato na siya ma-rewrite. Pwede na to ma-rewrite ang 64 diri as 4 to the power of 3. So after this, pwede na nato ma-eliminate ang iyang bases, di ba? Ma-eliminate na nato siya. So we are now left with n minus 2 plus n is equal to 3. So ma-cancel out mo na tong n ani, di ba? Ma-cancel out atong n. And then negative 2 is not equal to 3, di ba? Not equal to 3 man na sila. Or in this case, nahimo siyang 5 because gi-transpose ang 2 sa pikas. So pag transpose sa 2 sa pikas, nahimo siya 3 plus 2, di ba? Leaving it 0 which is equal to 5, di ba? But 0 and 5 are not equal. So it is a false statement. The equation has no solution. So this one has no solution. If you can if you cannot find what you're looking for such as x or kanang n mangani or unsa, therefore it is not true nga statement and yields um to a function that has no solution or equation that has no solution. Okay, so what about in solving exponential inequalities? So solving an exponential inequality is much like solving a linear inequality. Only that the former applies the property of equality for exponential equations. So let us consider the examples below. So solve the exponential inequality. 4 to the power of x plus 3 is less than x to the power of x plus 1. 8 to the power of x plus 1, I mean. So again, you can look for the factors of 4 and 8 of which they have in common, okay? So since ang common diary nga lesser number nila is 2, man di ba? 2. At ang 4 diary can be written as 2 squared, di ba? And then ang atong 8 diri can also be written as 2 to the power of 3. Okay? So now pwede na nato siya ma-rewrite having the same bases. Okay? So you now have 2 to the power of 2 times x plus 3 is less than 2 to the power of 3 times uh, x plus 1. Okay? So, ang gibuhat diari is gitranspose na ang 2, ang 3 pod gitranspose na siya. I mean, gi-distribute, gi-distribute. So, you now have 2 to the power of 2x plus 6 is less than 2 to the power of 3x plus 3. Now, since you have the same bases, you can eliminate na or you can disregard them. So, you are left with 2x plus 6 is less than 3x plus 3. Now, in solving for x, we have to, um, what do you call this? We'll have to transpose the common, um, I mean, the like terms. So, you have 2x, atong 3x, atong i-transpose, we'll have negative 3x. Atong 6 diri, i-transpose sa pikas, making it negative 6. Okay, since 2x minus 3x is equal to negative x, and 3 minus 6 is equal to negative 3, you can multiply both sides by negative 1. So if you multiply something, okay, if you multiply something that has an opposite, that has an opposite sign in a given inequality, if inequality siya guys then if inequality siya, tapos negative ang gimultiply, so ma-change ang atuang sign. So if you have there panalitan negative x is less than 4. Ana. If multiplyan nimo siya negative 1, mahimo siyang x is greater than negative 4. So may na siya. Mabaliktad ang iyang sign diari if multiplyan nimo negative. So this goes for all basta inequality lang, inequality. Okay? So ato ang negative x is less than negative 3 when multiplied with negative 1 for both sides, you'll now have x is greater than 3. So this will be our final answer. So we verify that if the resulting inequality is true for the given inequality by assigning values for x. So if mag-assign tag value sa x na to, let's say for example, mag-assign tag value dire. Let's say for example 4 to the power of 1 plus 3 na tang talang dira Subutang na to dira. And then 8 uh, 8 to the power of 1 plus 1, ba? So, ang answer diari is um 1 plus 3 man ni siya, di ba? 1 plus 3. So, naa kay 4 to the power of 4 is less than 8. So, this is not true, di ba? Kay 4 to the power of 4 should be greater than 8, di ba? Kay 4 squared pa lang gudaan nato kay 16 na biya. Nya, unsa na lang kahaog 4 to the power of 4? So, dili siya true, di ba? So, what about sa atuang um, x is when x is equal to 2? What about when x is equal to 2? Okay, wait. What about when x is equal to 2? Okay. So, you'll now have 4 to the power of 2 plus 3. Okay. 4 to the power of 2 plus 3. If it is it less than 8 to the power of um, 2 plus 1? You'll have there 4 to the power of 5 is less than 8 to the power of 3. So, ato i-check sa atong calculator if kuan ba siya, makita ba gid siya. So, we have therefore to the power of 5. So, natay 1024. 1024. Natay 1024. And then, gusto i-clear 8 cube. 8 cube daw. Itong 8 cube is just 512. So, dili siya true. Di ba? Dili siya true. Last na lang yun. Last. Last na lang yun. What about if x is equal to 3? So, if x is equal to 3, so may mo siyang 4 to the power of 3 plus 3 is equal to 8, is less than 3 to the power of 1. So, nakakay 4 to the power of 6 less than 8 to the power of 4. Na. So, ito i-check. So, i-check ha. So, you have there 4 to the power of 6. Nakay 4,096. 4,096. Will it be equal to our ano? Will it be less than? I mean, will it be less than? So 8 to the power of 4. So 4,096. So it cannot be less than kay equal man ni sila, di ba? So therefore the statement is not true. Okay? Dili siya true. Therefore, atong basihan ani is this one. It should be greater than 3. So if it is greater than 3, let's test. If it is greater, if sakto ba siya? Matrue ba ni siya nga statement when x is greater than 3? You have there 4 to the power of 4 to the power of 4. Say 4 plus 3 greater is less than 8 to the power of 4 plus 1. Okay. So i-try ha. So 4 to the power of 7 na siya and then 8 to the power of 5. 8 to the power of 5. So if ato siya i-calculate, dari. So 4 to the power of 7, we have the 16,384. 16,384. Will it be less than 8 to the power of 5, which is 8 to the power of 5 is equal to 32,768. 32,768, which makes the statement true. Okay? So true day siya. It is true when x is greater than 3. Okay? So that is how you solve for inequality. So by the way guys, yung last part na akong gibuhat, this is for you to check. Okay? If sakto ba imong answer. Okay. So the solution of the given inequality is 3 or open interval 3 up until the positive infinity. Okay? For our next example, we have there solve 2 to the 1 half to the power of 3x plus 1 is less than or equal to 1/4 to the power of 2 plus 2x. Okay. So ato siyang buhatan og um, solution by turning it into same basis. So ato ang 4 dara og 2, di ba? 4 og 2. Di ba kay ato ang 1 half is just 1 over 2 to the power of 1 lang man, di ba? And according sa ato ang negative exponent rule, dara, negative exponent rule, a to the power of negative x is just equal to 1 over a to the power of x. So, ang mahitabuan ni is this. It will become 2 to the power of negative 1. So, gi-reverse ra na ko na siya guys. Gi-reverse lang. So, it can be written as 2 to the power of negative 1 times 3x plus 1. So, what about sa itong 1/4? Atong 1/4, di ba kaya ang 1/4 kay 1 over 2 squared raman na siya. Okay, 1 over 2 squared na siya. Therefore, we can write it as, okay, pwede na to siya i-write as 2 to the power of negative 2. Okay? So, muna siya nahitabo dara. So, dara siya oh. Nahimo siyang 2 to, 2 to the power of negative 2 times um, 2 plus 2x, tara. So nahimo siyang -4 minus 4x, tara. So same raman na siya nara man na siya negative good ara. Negative ni siya guys, by the way. Na siya negative di ara. And then since same na ilang bases karon, same na ilang bases, you can disregard them na. So pag disregard ana, mabinlan ta sa atong mga exponents, which is kaning 3x minus 1 is less than or equal to -4x minus 4. Tara, so kani siya. And then solving for x, we need to combine like terms. So ato pag combine nato like terms, ato i-transpose ang -4x sa pika side ug ang 1 sa pika side. So you'll have now -3x plus 4x less than or equal to -4 plus 1. So na kay positive x, and then it is less than or equal to -3. So if mag-assign ka values ani, you'll just you can try mag-assign kag value sa atong x diari sa taas. If true ba, maka-true ba siya sa statement. Dapat kani imuhang basihan nga equation ay kani nga answer sa x, kani nga values for x. Therefore, the inequality has the interval open interval negative infinity, and also closed interval -3. Closed interval siya because this is less than or equal. Okay? Next example is you have there find the solution of the inequality. The cube root of 10 to the power of negative to the power of 1 minus 2x is greater than 0.1 to the power of 2x plus 1. So unsaon man ni siya nagkalisod na sa no or nana. Pero take note guys, nga sa atong cube root guys, you can just rewrite it as atong cube root can be rewritten as 10 to the power of 1/3. Atong square root is just simply 1/2. So mo ni siya ang cube root. Mo ni siya ang 10 to the power of 3. Atong square root, di ba square root may tawag ani? That is why dili na ta magbutang og 2 diri daan kay automatic na nga kaning radical sign says that this is square root. Okay? So this is the square root of 10. So wala siya. Okay? So you have there the cube root of 10 can be rewritten as 10 to the power of 1/3 to the power of 1 minus 2x. Okay, na kay na. Greater than 10 to the power of 1. Nganong 10 to the power of 1 man? Kay atong point 1, atong point 1 is just equal to 1 over 10 lang man, di ba? 1 over 10 lang man na siya. So, if ato siya i-reverse, ang 10, since naman sa denominator ang 10, pwede na to siya isaka by using the negative exponent rule, which makes the exponent sa 10 na to ma-negative 1. Tara. Okay? So, from point 1, you'll have 10 to the power of -1 to the power pa jud of 2x plus 1. So, since same na ilang bases, guys, you can now disregard them, ang 10 na to atong bases. And now you are left with kay kani siya gimultiplyan ra man ni siya 1/3 times 1 minus 2x is just equal to 1 minus 2x divided by 3 greater than -2x minus 1. Ngano man negative man ni? Because we have this negative siya gidistribute ang -1. Okay, nanatay diri. So ang gibuhat next ani is to eliminate sa 3. Unsa ang pag-eliminate ang 3? By multiplying 3 to both sides. So if multiply mo 3 ang both sides, mag-cancel out ang 3 diri, leaving you 1 minus 2x. Tara. Greater than 3 times -2x, that is just -6x, and then -1 times 3 is equal to -3. Okay? Now, to find x, you will have to, what do you call this? You'll have to combine like terms again. So pag combine sa like terms, ibalhin mo ang -6 sa pikas, ang 1 ibalhin sa pikas. So, ang negative 6 diri ma-positive ni siya. Positive ni siya, guys. Ma-positive siya. And then, ang atoang 1 will become negative 1. Okay? So, negative 2x plus 6 is just positive 4x greater than negative 4. So, nanaka diara negative 4 ug ang 4 since nangita mata sa x, you'll divide both sides by 4. So, you'll have a final answer of x is greater than negative 1. So, this statement must be true for x is greater than negative 1, I mean. Therefore, your solution will be equal to the open interval of negative 1 up until the positive infinity. Ngano man, kay greater than negative 1 man. So, if greater than negative 1, so that means negative 1, 0, 1, 2. So, hantod na siya sa infinity. Okay? So, note that in solving exponential equations, it is important to verify if the value you have solved is the solution by substituting it to the given equation. For example, for exponential inequalities, assign the values of the variable that satisfy the resulting inequality to verify if such resulting inequality defines uh, the solution set of the given exponential inequality. So, to confirm sa inyong answers, guys, you can just simply input this sa inyong calculators. Let's say, for example, dara, i-input na nimo sa calculator and then you'll check if mas greater than ba siya. If imong answer kay greater than negative 1, so if 0 ni siya, greater ba siya? Ana, di ba? So, same ra pud sa akong gibuhat gaari, dara, akong gibuhat diri earlier is that ako siyang giisa-isa to check if true ba ang statement when x is greater than 3. Okay? So that is how you um, solve for an inequality. And this goes also for equalities, guys, like equation, I mean, equations, like exponential equations, pwede po na to siya i-check by substituting the values for x. Kung true ba gid siya. Okay? So that goes for our exponential functions. Now what about the graphs and properties of exponential functions? So we will consider the behavior of the graphs of exponential functions of the form f of x is equal to b to the power of x, where b is greater than 1 through the following illustrative examples. Okay. For example 1, catch the graph of f of x is equal to 2 to the power of x and determine its properties such as the domain and range, asymptote, behavior of the graph, and y-intercept. So, unsa man na siya? So, atong buhaton dari is just simply substitute the values sa tuang given nga function. So, let's say for example, you'll have 5 points. So, 5 ka points inyong buhaton or like 5 ka values sa x inyong pangitaon. Pwede ra na siya maski unsa nga values imong pangitaon basta kay sakto ra pud imong pagkuha sa imong y. Okay? Now, when x is equal to negative 2, so natay 2 to the power of negative 2. So mahimo siyang 1 over 4, di ba? Kay 1 over 2 squared ra ba na siya. Tara. So, mahimo siyang 1/4. If nakay 1, nakay negative 1, you'll have there 1 over um 2, di ba? Kay 2 to the power of negative 1 is just 1 half. Okay? What about if 0? Okay, so ato ang 0 if sa ato ang 0 nga rule, if 0 atong exponent, you'll have 1. Tara, nakay 1. What if 2 to the power of 1? 2 to the power of 1 is just equal to 2 lang siya. Now, 2 squared. Ang 2 squared na to is 4. Atong 2 cube is equal to 8. Okay, so na kay table. So since na kay table, pwede na dayon ka make og graph ani niya. Kay na naman kay values for x and y. You can now simply plot the points sa inyong Cartesian plane. Okay, so the graph of f of x is equal to 2x is shown in figure A. So muna siya yung graph, guys. The domain is the set of all real numbers. Note that the function values are all greater than 0 for all x values. Thus, the range is set of positive real numbers. So the graph is concave up and the function is increasing. So increasing siya, guys. Okay? So observe further that as x decreases, the graph of the function approaches the negative axis. Moreover, the graph has no x-intercept. So the graph of f of x is equal to 2 to the power of x intersects uh, the y-axis at point 0 and 1. So na-intersect siya diari. Muna siya ang point 0 and 1. So makita na to ni siya when our x is 0. So atong x kay 0, 2 to the power of 0, so may equal siya 1. So na-touch siya diari. Therefore, the y-intercept is equal to 1. Okay? Example 2. On the same Cartesian plane, sketch the graph of the following functions. You have there a, which is f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x, b, which is f of x is equal to 5 to the power of x, and c, f of x is equal to 10 to the power of x. So let x be some values on the interval -2 and 3 for all exponential functions given. So ang pasabot aning interval, so muna siya imong giset nga values for x. So it is in between -2 and 3. So ang between numbers nila is -1, 0, 1 and 2, di ba? So muna sa tong interval sa tong x. Now observe guys nga as our values for x increases, the value for y also increases. Tara, nagka-increase na siya. You have there 1, 3, 9, 27. So nasa common ratio nga 3. Dari, nasa common ratio nga 5. Dari nasa common ratio nga 10. So basically, ang yang common ratio is the base of the exponential function. Okay? So since na naman kay values dari, given kag tulo ka examples pero imong gibuhat dari is simply substitute lang the values. So kuha lang ko isang example kani 3 to the power of x. What is the y value if x is -2? So that will be 1 over 9. Nga naman. So 3 to the power of x is equal to 3 to the power of -2. So pwede man nato siya ma-rewrite as 1 over 3 squared, which is just 1 over 9. So ana ra na siya. Mura yang gi-apply for all values. Kada value maglahi-lahi ka og y. Kay lahi-lahi man pud yung value sa x. Okay? Now sa inyong graph, muna ni siya ang mahimo ninyong graph. This is the graph when f of x is equal to 3. This is the graph when f of x is equal to 5 to the power of x, and then f of x is equal to 10 to the power of x. Kani siya. Okay. So inote na to guys nga ato ang y-intercept ang nila tanan is just equal to 1, di ba? Kay when x is equal to 0, matouch siya sa ato ang y-intercept. Okay? Therefore, our 1 will be our y-intercept. So, common siya for all sa ato ang given nga examples. So observe that the properties of the graph of f of x is equal to 2 to the power of x are also true for these three given functions. All the graphs shown in figure B are asymptotic to the x-axis and they pass the point 0, 1. Hence, the y-intercept is 1. So, as I've said earlier, atong y-intercept dari kay 1. Okay? Sa upat ka graphs. Okay? The graphs have the same general shape as the graph of f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. Furthermore, note that as b increases, the graph gets closer and closer to the x-axis from the right. So og magkadako daw tong base dara. Di ba tong base diari kay 3, 5 og 9 og 10, I mean. So if magkadako daw siya, mas magkaduol siya sa atong x-axis from the right. Okay? Generally, the graphs of the four exponential functions illustrate a one-to-one function through the horizontal line test. Okay? So sa atong horizontal line test diara kas ara sa nag-touch. Therefore, ma-qualify siya. So from these examples, you can now summarize the properties of exponential functions of the form f of x is equal to b to the power of x, where b is greater than 1, by answering the following activity. So for you have there, since common naman ni siya, inani, basta na ata exponential functions, na ma-apply na to ni siya sa atong real life, so this means nga naatay word problems. Okay, let's get into the example. Now, therefore, our example 3, okay. So in 2005, a certain town in La Union has a population of 32,400. So each year, the population increases at a constant rate of about 7%. Okay, what is the growth of the town? Determine an exponential equation that model the population growth P in T years. And C, using the equation in B, determine the population in town in 2012. And lastly, if the population continues to increase the same rate, how many people will there be in 2022? So for A, you have there the initial population of town in 200, ay no, 2005 ni siya. In 2005 is 32,400. And it increases annually at a rate of 7% daw. So mag-increase daw siya og um with a rate of 7%. Now to determine the growth factor, we will compute the population of the town after 1 year. Okay? Thus, ato ang equation ani will become P of 1, P sub 1 I mean, is equal to 32,400 plus 32,400 times the annual rate, which is um, 0.07 or 7%. So, muna siya ang atong original o muna siya ang atuang um, population with an increased annual rate. Okay? So, nasa annual rate nga 0.07. Okay? So, since diari, common atong 32,400. So, we can now factor them out. Ma-factor out na to ang 32,400 diari. So, pag factor out na to, atong 32,400, magawas siya, leaving you 1 times 0.07. Ano man, if ato siyang i-transpose dari, if ato siya i-transpose dari sa tagsa, mubalik ta sa ato ang first nga equation. Tara. Now, this one is used para dali atong pag-solve. So, na naman tayo 32,400 dari, ato na lang i-add ang 1 plus 0.07. So, pag-add na to, you'll now have 32,400 times 1.07. Okay. So, pag multiply na to ana, um, naman siya 0.107 daw nga tubo. So, pag multiply nimo, you'll have 34,668. So, therefore, muna siya ato ang growth factor. Okay? So, check na tong A. And then, what about sa tong B? Let the exponential function be y is equal to a b prime, where y is the population of t years, a is the initial population, and b is the growth factor. So hence, the exponential equation that models the population growth P of the town is y is equal to 32,400 times 1.07 according sa atong growth factor. So mo ni siya ang atuang model model sa atuang population growth using our growth factor. So from 32,000 multiplyan nimo sa 1.07 up until unsay imong gusto nga year. If gusto ka makakita results sa 2006, multiplyan lang nimo siya inana. Kaya naman siya growth factor nga 1.07. Okay? So for the C, determine the population in town in 2012. So saan na to siya pagkakita ana? So the initial year in 2005 is 32,400 man. Therefore, in 2012, T will be equal to 7. Di ba? Kaya itong 7 is T years man ra. T years. So, atong T there is 7. So, using the equation in B, ato equation daw di ari, dara sa ako. Muna siya itong equation, guys. So, you'll now have 32,000 times 1.07 to the power of 7. Okay, 7 years man ang gap sa 2005 o 2012. So, that will become 52,027.32. Thus, the population in 2020, 2020 man siya, atong population sa 2012 is 52,027.32. Okay? Next. So, unsa na naman po ni nga, pila naman po kadaghana ang population sa La Union if moabot sa 2022. Given nga natin growth factor nga 1.07 and ang gap sa 2005 ug 2022 is 17 years. So, simple, ato lang i-substitute ra gihapon nato ang values diari sa atong equation sa B. So, you'll now have atong since 2022 man siya, therefore ang T na to will be 17 because the gap of 2022 from 2005 is 17 years. So, we use the same formula to determine the town population after 17 years. You'll now have y is equal to say 32,400 times 1.07 to the power of 17. So, if you try to input this in your calculator, you'll have the final answer of y which is equal to 102,345.61. Ka? Tawo daw. So, that's the population in 2022 din eh. Ano 2020? The population for 2022 will be 102,345.61 katawo. Okay? Example 4. So, example 4, you have there a substance decays according to the formula P sub T is equal to P times 1 minus R to the power of T. So, how much of a 15-gram sample of a certain substance will remain after 4 hours? If the substance left every hour is half of it. So, muna siyang gitawag na itong half-life, guys. So, diari, given man atong formula diri, given atong formula, napot ay 15 grams nga substance nga sample. Okay? So, the substance decays half of the amount every hour. So, mag-decay daw siya og half kada oras. Okay? Mag-decay siya half kada oras. So your R, kaning R na to, will be equal to 50% or 0.5. Thus, um, if T is equal to 4, ato ang T dari is time din guys sa time. If T is equal to 4, you can now substitute the value for this one. So the your P of 4 or P sub 4 is equal to, okay, 15. Ano siya to ang P? So 15 times 1 minus 0.50 to the power of 4. Okay? So ato ang 1 minus 0.50, that is just equal to 0.5 lang man, di ba? So if ato na siyang i-input sa tong calculator, natay final answer nga 0.94. So therefore, there will be only there will only be 0.94 grams of gram ra siya kay wa siya kabutog 1 of substance left after 4 hours. So from 15 grams, nagdedicate siya og half. Nagdedicate siya og half kada oras. So since upat man ka oras, upat sa gibahin-bahin og katunga, mo pasabot niya. So therefore, 0.94 na lang ang mabilin. Okay, so ang gibuhat dari is gi-apply na to ang ato ang what you call this, ang ato ang exponential nga functions, rules sub, and also sa ato ang word problems, guys, you can just easily input this sa ato ang calculator, unlike sa kanang mga given nga um, examples nako before sa atong previous topic. Di ba kay ang gihatag didto kay mga x man, so for x kay wala pa man taga-apply ato in real life, but this one mostly sa mga problems basta mag-apply og real life, pwede ra nato ma-input sa calculator. Okay, so don't worry lang. So if natin questions, feel free to ask. So that will be all. Okay, thank you and God bless.